Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of the Culturally Controversial Podcast, Sports Talk. I'm your host, Simply Nicholas87, and my co-host, Ty H.
Hey, good evening, good people. It's a good night to have a good night.
Hey, man, for all the new people that subscribed out there, appreciate y'all. We at 330 right now. Let's keep climbing the mountain, as they say. 170 away from reaching our 500 goal. We hope to make that possible this year, but nevertheless, we still gonna reach for that goal. Well, appreciate all the new people out there. Appreciate uh all the people that have been consuming the content and and sharing it. So uh tonight we're just gonna bring you some sports talk. Just a couple of debate questions. A couple topics that I want to debate on or whatever. But I'm just gonna jump right into it, man. Because I'm a believer, and I know you are yourself, in one person having the championship. Uno, what's going on, man? Appreciate you popping in, sir. Um, I know you're a believer in one championship for a season,
Yeah,
and I believe in that too. So I want to get your thoughts because I'm gonna give you mine on the NBA World Cup that we have going on right now.
you mean the in-season tournament?
Yeah, the
What
cup.
the NBA champion? The June's the only NBA champion. I don't even understand what this in-season tournament thing is about or what its purpose is. I don't understand the formatting of it. I don't understand what the incentive of it is because, from my understanding, it takes place during the regular season. The games count on your 82 game schedule, so it's incorporated with your 82 game schedule. Only the
Mhm.
only way to be 83rd game is if you reach the I guess championship game, and that still won't count on your 82 games. That's just be an extra game that doesn't count. I don't understand its purpose because the only person that's going to be recognized as the NBA World Champion is the NBA World Champion that wins the playoffs in June. This thing here, this is Adam Silver messing with the game like he did with that whole play-in thing, where you reward mediocrity by allowing a team that finished 10th in the conference to have a chance to make the playoffs. It's just Adam Silver struggles on ego. I don't understand the purpose of this. Don't understand what it means. Don't understand the true incentive of it, and don't understand what it does to enhance the game. So I don't really have any further commentary on it 'cause I think it's a waste of time.
I agree. I think it's a waste of time. Personally, my thing is when this was talked about, there, I don't know if there was a guy, well, the grouping. I don't know how many games you had to play to actually get in this cup. I don't know any of the
So if it needs
specifications of
to,
getting in, classifications or whatever it is. But me personally, why do you need a mid-season champion, a world champion? You just
I
have a
wish you
world champion.
I wish you would quit calling him champion. Just say in season tournament because I refuse to
Well,
call him champion.
well, I know I'm not. I'm agreeing with you. I'm not calling them champions, but what I'm saying is, they're gonna use that. That's what they're gonna run with. Oh man, we won the mid-season championship. We're
What
mid-season champions.
but it's not a playoff. It's not a postseason tournament. It's just like, for example, college basketball. If you won the Maui Invitational, you can't claim that you won an NCAA championship. So I don't see it any different from that.
I don't either, but I feel like as this liberal pleaser, he's gonna make it that way.
He is a liberal, but I haven't read anywhere where that's looked at as equivalent as NBA championship. It's not like you get an NBA championship ring or be classified as an NBA champion. It's just like if someone won, just like if a college team won the Maui Invitational or won the Battle for Atlantis or the preseason NIT, they wouldn't be acknowledged as an NCAA champion. It's just that they won the Maui Invitational.
I wish
So,
they would put this much energy in making the All-Star game back interesting again, but
well,
that's none of my business.
speaking of that, they're going back to the traditional East-West format.
Thank God.
Yeah, they're going back to the East-West format, and the All-Star with the traditional setup, traditional logistics of it. So I'm happy to see that because that whole
that picking team stuff is
Yeah, pickup game stuff they're doing. And that was Adam Silver again trying to be cute. I know the NFL tried that with the Pro Bowl a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where they were having
yeah.
team Andrew Luck versus team Eli Manning or whatever, and this person pick who they want their team. I never like where you have the potential of actual teammates playing against each other in an All-Star game. I never liked the whole concept of trying to make it a pickup game. I think of an All-Star game is that's something where you're supposed to reward the best players in the game who've had the best season. And to me, it's something that even though there's fun in it, it still should be taken seriously and have still some level of being formal. Even
Right.
you have All-Star Weekend where you have the dunk contest and all the stuff, so you have everything in place for the fun. But when it comes to the game, keep the structure, the formal structure of the game. And I'm glad they reverted back to the traditional All-Star format, the East versus West. That's why, just like in the Pro Bowl, they went back to AFC versus NFC. I think that's how it should always be. I don't like all these gimmicky things with the game. The game that we love, we've come to love it by watching it as it is. I don't think we need to do so much to tinker with it and try to make it different. I'm a firm believer if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it.
I agree. I agree. What's going on, Wendell? Salutes to Wendell in the building.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Um, Now this is where I now we offer that the cup and all this good stuff. Now I want to get into grits and gravy. I know we don't watch games. I don't watch a lot of games myself right now, but I will start eventually. Christmas and after, or after All Star break, maybe more. But is it time to push the panic button for the Lakers?
No,
Not yet.
no, but I mean they need to. I mean they need to defend better. I mean they need to improve, but it's not time to push the panic button. What? How many games in? 10 games in?
I think it's 12 for us, 6-6.
I always look at it about 30 games in. I look at Christmas time as the barometer, as the measuring stick. If you're playing below 500 ball by the time Christmas hits, then I say it's go time. To me, Christmas is a line of demarcation. That's when it's go time. Like I
Right.
always say, that's usually about traditionally that's somewhere between 25 to 30 games in by the time you get to Christmas. And I always say if you can keep your head above water through Christmas, and then turn it on after that, you'll be okay. And because I always look at I try to divide up in sections. I always say from the season opener to Christmas, keep your head above water. Now
Right.
from January to All Star break, you want to continue to build on what you're doing, get better. And then after All Star break, that's when you make your charge for the postseason. But you got to have your record in decent shape leading to All Star in order to make that charge. So in order to have decent record leading All Star, that time after Christmas, that's when you need to start. Once Christmas hit, because sometimes you're still trying to figure things out, trying to figure out what lineup worked the best, trying to figure out what rotations work the best leading up to Christmas. But then once you hit that Christmas mark, at that point, it's time to start figuring things out. At that time, you should have at least established your identity.
Right. And my thing is right now, and I know a lot of people have been on the what is going on with Anthony Davis. Don't know if he's injured. Allegedly, they said
He's
he had
hurt,
a hip injury. Allegedly, he said somebody's hip was bothering him,
but
but he
he
said he
played.
was making a play last night.
Oh, well. I don't say I get hurt so much that they wrap him up like a mummy. I mean, I don't. Nah,
Hey,
he's on a white tape they have around. He wrapped up like a mummy. I about to say he should never get hurt. He should be bulletproof. Even if
allegedly,
he should be if he got run over a car like Kelly
uh,
Oubre who was run over by a car, he shouldn't even be hurt as much they got wrapped around Anthony Davis.
was it a car or a fist? But I ain't
I said allegedly.
allegedly, allegedly it was a car. But last night, I think he went scoreless again in the second half. 9 points, 9 rebounds total game, 5 turnovers.
He's always been
Uh,
inconsistent.
and
Anthony and see with LeBron and LeBron had trouble. At LeBron's age, it's the time now for Anthony Davis to take over and make that team his. But Anthony Davis has never been a franchise player. He wasn't when he was in New Orleans.
he
He was
wasn't
a
the
guy
shit.
that
Yeah,
couldn't lead them to anything. And now he's with the Lakers, and it's like if LeBron isn't leading this team, then Anthony Davis seems like he can't consistently put this team on his back. It's like he still has to follow LeBron's lead, and at this point, he should have elevated himself to the point where he's ready to take this team over. But his poor health and his lack of durability has prevented him from doing such.
Yeah, and I mean, at the beginning of the season, LeBron did. I said, "Hey, here, AD, this is yours. I'm giving you this. This is your car now.
Anthony
I'm the back
Davis,
seat."
Anthony Davis is a good player, but Anthony Davis isn't the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land. Anthony Davis is not the leader. Anthony Davis is a guy who has to be second fiddle for someone to be in order to win at the highest level. He can't carry it on his shoulders. Anthony, he should be able to, but that's never been him. He's not consistent enough to do that. So if LeBron James is not at the top of his game, then don't expect Anthony Davis to be the guy.
Chill time, what's going on, man? Salute the channel, chill time, right in the building.
Chill time. I know he
Always
probably
good to see you.
ready to see what his Arizona Wildcats going to do in college basketball this season. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we get to that because I definitely want to get a laugh off on that one. But I said the Lakers need a true point guard. I agree.
D'Angelo Russell, he's a combo guard. D'Angelo Russell can play point guard. I don't think that's necessarily the issue. Is and he's actually hadn't shot the ball poorly this year. I think the Lakers' issue is they can't guard the perimeter. That's the main issue.
That too.
Because no matter what they do offensively, they can't guard the perimeter. They're gonna be in for some long nights.
Because last night was one of them nights.
Yeah, if they don't defend, because first of all, James can't defend like he used to. He used to be all league defender, but at his age now, he's not the defender he once was. And you trying to have him defend wings or whatever. That we can't defend the wing or the perimeter. So that's a flaw. We're up and down 3-point shooting team. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have if you want to say a true point guard. I mean, but D'Angelo Russell, skill wise, is more than enough at the point guard position. It's just at this point, they still don't have their rotations down. They're still not defending consistently at a high level. Until that changes, you're going to see the same kind of struggles.
Very damn. And they actually are doing pretty good in football. That was actually shocking. But
Yeah, Arizona Wildcats are ranked in football, and they're like 23rd or something like that, right?
20, yeah, something like that. They rank. They got a bowl game right now.
Yeah.
But I me personally, now this is the devil advocate part of me. I've been looking at these sports groups, and I've been seeing this. It's been in multiple sports groups about this alleged trade that they want to happen sometime down the season. The players that they're trying to, I think it was Anthony Davis and who else was it? It was a couple other guys. It was Anthony Davis. I think it was Rudy, and I think the Rudy yeah, and I think it was the 2029 pick for Alex Caruso and Zach LaVine.
That would be craziness. That would be a silly deal. Zach LaVine's not a franchise player. He put some numbers on a mediocre, just bad team. Zach LaVine is good for highlights. He's a lot of sizzle, but when it comes down to it, Zach LaVine's not a guy that's gonna lift the team up. Just a good athlete who makes highlight dunks and puts up decent numbers on a team that's struggling. First of all, who would trade for Anthony Davis with his contract and his injuries? That doesn't make sense. The trade Rui Hachimura for Alex Caruso is absolute craziness. Caruso's a good defender and all that, but he can't shoot. And the draft pick doesn't really matter, but the others, the say trade Anthony Davis and Hachimura for Zach LaVine and Caruso, that's absolute craziness. If Rob Pelinka did that, he would need to be escorted out that same night.
with or without force.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even believe that. That's absolute.
I believe I agree. I've seen it in the sports groups, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about all that. Man.
Yeah, that's absolute.
That's like trading apples for.
People get caught up in names because some guys put some decent numbers like Zach LaVine or whatever. I mean, Zach LaVine is just a name. There's a lot of sizzle, but you don't see much state there. But it's good to make highlights and then score points and lose.
Yeah, that too. Definitely that. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's time to push the panic button. Hey,
with Zach LaVine, I'm gonna shoot him a little dirty. To me, trading for Zach LaVine is like back in the 2000s trading for Jason Richardson.
oh, come on.
Zach is, to me, just a little taller and lankier, more athletic, slightly more athletic version. I'm talking about as far as the substance and the impact he has on the game. He has no more impact on the game than Jason Richardson.
Prime in the building. What's going on, TJ? Salute.
TJ Prime, what TJ this? Is our TJ in Arizona or our TJ in Waysboro?
Waysboro.
Okay.
I feel bad for Tyron Lue, honestly. Oh, well, let's get into that because
Yeah.
that's definitely getting into that because Philadelphia's looking real good right now.
LA Clippers are wannabes. They want to be the Lakers so bad. They spend most of the time worrying about the Lakers. Well, hey, but the good thing next year they go into their new arena and they no longer have to spend money. They don't have to cover 17 banners, man. I know that's real expensive. Where you have to buy 17 pieces of cloth to cover 17 banners. They don't have to cover up 17 banners that don't belong to them anymore because they'll have their own arena in Inglewood, right across the SoFi Stadium. So
with no banners,
they can go undefeated there now.
Thank God. Get out our house.
Yeah. As far as the Clippers are concerned, James Harden is not a winner. James Harden is he's good for numbers. He's good for numbers. I mean, he demanded trades the last 3 teams he's been on. I think the common denominator is him. He's there with the Clippers now, and they're 0-5 since he's been there. That's James.
We do know James Harden. If he was a bank robber, he'd be great.
Yeah, and like George and Leonard, they've been hurt so much. I mean, they're all over 30 now. They're all around 32, 33. All those guys are in that 33 type age range. They're all losing a step. And their window to win the championship was a few years ago when they were worried about the Lakers, and they end up not winning one. I think the original sin is when Kawhi didn't have the guts to defend the championship they won in Toronto and left, never knowing a guy to win Finals MVP, a franchise player with a team, and leave the same offseason after winning a championship and not even try to defend that championship. And there's a good chance that with the Clippers, that they're not gonna win one.
Well, history proven they'll never win one as long as I'm on God's green earth. And
I plan on being here, so you know.
I plan on being here a while, so I don't think they'll win one in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they do, I will say I was wrong when I said I retract my statement. But I don't see the Clippers with that roster. I don't see them getting out of the first round yet again.
Well, the way they're playing right now, they better get to the first round.
Well, or to play in, I say that.
Yeah, the Clippers are going to do what the Clippers do. They're going to run off at the mouth. They're going to get a lot of hype, and they're going to find a way to come up short when it matters the most. That's the Clipper way.
That's the Clipper way. As they play Dallas, they'll never get done.
They need to take their butts back to San Diego. Why don't they do that? Or go back to Buffalo. That's a real throwback.
Yeah, back to the Buffaloes. But my thing with the Clippers, if he said the Clippers ain't beat no one in 7 games. Clippers ain't beat no one in 4.
And it's a bunch of hype. Like I said, a bunch of sizzle. No state.
And I'm gonna say this. Listen, when you got James Harden as your primary scorer, get ready to have a bad shooting night. Now, I'm not gonna say he's not a good scorer. I'll say that. But when it means the most, he comes up short every freaking time.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna call him a good scorer anymore. When they started enforcing that rule where they're not putting you on the foul line when you jump into someone shooting threes, his scoring has dropped off ever since then. Before then, when he was averaging 34 points and stuff a game, basically what he was doing, he travels every play with his step back. He take 2 steps back without dribbling.
Yep.
Then he pump fakes and then he jumps into the defender and he would get 3 free throws every time. That's when they were allowing him to do that. He was averaging 33, 34 points a game. When they started enforcing that rule where they quit calling that foul and started calling it an offensive foul, that's when his scoring dipped. When the rules at the time were allowing him to score cheaply, and then once the rules were adjusted, or once the rules I would say were being properly enforced, his game dropped off. I mean, because he's not a pure athlete. That's who he is. I mean, he
Yeah.
could, and as of now, Andy's lost a step too. So when it comes to the Clippers, I mean, they got other scores. They got Leonard, they got George when they're available to play. They have them
Right.
too. So they have talent. I think their window is just coming and going. You know, so you have a window of when you win championship, and if you don't do it in that opportunity, your time comes and goes. Like the thing about it, you never know what next year holds. So when you have an opportunity to win something, or an opportunity to accomplish something, you better do it while the opportunity is there because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to tear their ACL. Same thing in life. If there's an opportunity, and if you have a dream or goal that you set out to do, and the opportunity has presented itself, you can't put that off to next year and say, well, I'm not going to go hard at it right now because I can do it next year. You don't know what might happen next year. Just like in 2019, everything that everybody passed up on in 2019 and said that I handle it next year, we're so happy. We're so happy in 2020. There was no next year. Your next year got robbed from you.
Yeah.
You basically lost. You basically got skipped. 2 years got skipped in our lives. In our lives, we basically
Yeah.
lost 2 years of society.
We did.
So
In,
the
in
thinking
a matter of months at
right, and
that.
we 2020 and 2021 were basically 2 years that were robbed from us. Thank God that we're here to see the other side of it because so many people aren't. But the point I'm making is that when you put something off to next year, everybody in 2019 that had a goal set out that they could have accomplished and they put it off or didn't put the effort they should have put in the hopes of waiting to next year, 2020 was a firm lesson, a solid lesson to let you know that don't assume that you got next year because we had a situation where next year and the year after were basically robbed from us. I mean, we lived through it, but what the opportunities were taken. And when we came out on the other side, some of those opportunities still didn't remain when we came on the other side of it. Now that it's 2023.
I'm laughing at the comment.
Oh, I'm not gonna comment on Dwight Howard. I know he said Harden will play next Dwight Howard next season in China.
Listen,
I'm just making this Howard free zone.
hey, I don't know if you watch the. Well, I do watch it. I watch the podcast. It is what it is with Cameron and Mace. I think that's a
I see
hilarious
that.
podcast. But I'm just gonna say this: consensual is not a surprise. But anyway, we get on to that. I'm gonna agree with the point what you said about them the changing the rules because if you could go to the free throw line 20 times a night, what James Harden was doing,
Right.
yeah, you can score 30, average 30 plus points a game.
You should.
You should. It's
He like
easy.
he was like an 80-something% free throw shooter, so he should.
Yeah. So yeah, that
A
I
lot of those
agree.
games getting 3 free throws at a time because he charging shoulder to someone, jumping into someone while pump faking the three. And they were giving him 3 free throws.
But yeah, with that, I mean, I like I said, the window has came and gone for them, and I think it's just time to rebuild at this point for them. Like just start from scratch.
You know?
Because it's like you said, it's aging. Everybody's over 30. That's on Kawhi, Paul George, James Harden. Like you said, lost a step, gained weight. He can't get those looks, those free throws like he usually does. I feel like you traded your best defensive player away with Batum for James Harden.
Yeah, but Batum ain't good.
One of your better defensive players. I'm not gonna say score, but a better defender.
He's all right.
I mean, he was a better defender.
Batum didn't make a major difference in whether they were going to be successful or not.
No, I'm not saying it's successful, but I feel like the defensive presence. Because James Harden's not playing defense. Let's just be honest with that. He's not playing defense.
No, never did, and he's certainly not now.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at least you had a defender, whether he got put on his butt or whatever. I mean, he did defend. Harden just lets you go by. So that's my point on that.
Yeah.
Getting into the next issue topic. Does anybody like Rudy Gobert anymore?
I mean, I never thought he was all that, but I mean, I thought it was a punk move to jump him from behind and choke him.
He definitely got the Jody choke from Baby Boy.
Yeah, everybody want to talk about he looked soft. I'm like, he got jumped from behind. I'm like, I don't know. When it comes to Green, I'm like, that doesn't make Green like a tough guy. He jumped from behind. It's not like he got him face to face. Dude never even saw
No,
him
he
come.
didn't get him face to face. But my thing is with this, I feel like with all that going on, none of the teammates actually broke it up. I didn't see any break it up from my view.
And that bothers me, but I don't know why people. And I know I shouldn't say this, but a guy like Green, I don't know why no one's ever punched him in the mouth. But the thing about it, he's very fortunate to people like Ron Artest, people like Charles Oakley, people like Rick Mahorn, people like Bill Lambier, uh, even people like Robin, people like Malone, people like Anthony Mason. He's very fortunate that people
Yeah,
like that aren't in the league anymore.
especially Charles Oakley, because I'm gonna tell you that would automatically been punched. He'd have been punched in the mouth.
Tyrone Hill, guys like that. You don't really have those enforcers in the league anymore. Like Anthony Mason wouldn't have played that. Tyrone Hill wouldn't have played that. Ron Artest, who to me was like the last of that when he played that. Marcus Smart probably wouldn't have even played that.
No, he wouldn't. I think that's like the actual tough, the last
Right. I don't
enforcer.
know about James Posey wouldn't have played that. Like to me, James Posey was kind of getting James Posey and Ron Artest were kind of like the last of those guys. Marcus Smart is kind of like one of the few of those who still have a little bit of that in them, that enforcer type thing. But
He said all those plays would have been. They would. I mean, but still, sometimes it needs to be a check. It has to be
yeah, but you don't have guys like that like that anymore. Like we know Rick Mahorn wouldn't have allowed that. Rick Mahorn would have knocked all the boys' teeth out.
Rick Mahorn and what's my man's name? Bill Lambier.
Yeah, and to his point about Karl-Anthony Towns is like their franchise player. You don't want that player getting involved in it. That's the whole point of having those enforcers.
Well, I mean, not as far as involved, but if Cat could have got it separated. Now I don't know if he would have got suspended. He might would have got fined. I don't think he would have got suspended for trying to separate it at the time.
Yeah.
Dre was helping Clay. That's what enforcers.
Gobert wasn't attacking Tom. All he doing was holding him. Green just wanted a reason to choke him. That's all. And I think he just wanted to jump him. Draymond Green is a word. He's a word that I can't say on here, and that's what he is. It rhymes with snitch and witch, whatever. That's what he is. He's a wannabe tough guy enforcer. But when it actually comes time to throw down, I've never seen him actually square up against somebody face to face. It's always a bunch of trash talking or some dirty fouls or some dirty underhanded kicks that he does, or like where he ran up on someone from behind. I haven't seen him just straight up face up someone, square up, and go mano a mano with them.
No, with his track record,
it's always underhanded stuff, like when he kicked Steven Adams, when he kicked LeBron and all that. It's always underhanded, dirty stuff. It's never face to face where he throws hands up and say, "Let's go." It's always the run off at the mouth, the shoving and pushing underneath, the dirty kicking and all that stuff, the jumping someone from behind. We had never seen him actually go face to face with someone and throw down.
Now he did stump on Sabonis. Was it this summer or last year sometime?
What happened with him and Sabonis?
I think he stumped on Sabonis.
So Sabonis was laying down when he stomped on him?
I'm not sure, but that was a report that he stumped on Sabonis.
Right. So my point is, if you're stomping on someone, that's with your legs. If you're stomping on someone, that's indicating that either the person's down or not at a neutral position to you. Like everything he does is dirty and underhanded. It's never a situation where he's face to face with someone. I've never seen him knock anybody out or knock anybody down where he's standing face to face with them. Like a guy like Ron, a swing on you right there on the spot. A guy like James Posey wouldn't let that. Guys like Oakland and Mahorn and all those guys I mentioned before, those guys, you knew they were coming. They were right there in front of you, and it wasn't any underhanded sucker type stuff.
He said Dre got kicked in his jump this year. Karma.
Good. He deserved it.
I missed that.
I'm hoping. I wish a guy like Artest was still in the league, but one of these days he's gonna try the wrong person. He's gonna get the heck knocked out of him.
Yeah, it's gonna be that. It's gonna be somebody that's an enforcer too.
Yeah, but these days, these guys in the league now are so soft to where nobody's gonna do it. What they like to do now, nobody's gonna fight in the league now. What they like to do, they like to do a little push and shove, and then they stand around. Then everybody jump between and hold everybody back, and everybody just dance around like they're at the prom, just getting dancing. Nobody's gonna do anything these days. You're not gonna see like a Knicks Heat thing with like Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson. You're not gonna see that these days.
Jeff Van Gundy holding on to my
Holding on
man's
to Alonzo
leg.
Mourning's leg. Yeah,
Hell,
you're not gonna see that.
that was hilarious. I remember that game. I think I watched that game too.
To me, Draymond Green and Patrick Beverly are cut from the same cloth. That same type, that sneaky, like when he pushed Chris Paul from behind and stuff. They're both on that sneaky, underhanded stuff. Neither one of them will stand up mano to mano, face to face someone and go to battle.
Well, we know Pat Beverly.
Pat Beverly's a word that rhymes with witch too.
My back itches. But yeah. But I mean, the 5-game suspension is. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest,
I thought she got more than that.
yeah, I was
He
gonna say
just got ejected 2 days before then. He's showing the propensity to get ejected, and becoming a habitual offender. At this point, you got to send a message to him and suspend him more than that. But yeah, he got 5 games.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. So okay, I'm not gonna compare apples to oranges because 2 different situations. But let's take a Ja Morant. He did stuff outside the court.
Ja Morant should be suspended a single. Let me get into that. So, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say this. Ja Morant got suspended with 25 games.
25 games, which is ridiculous.
For I'll say 2 off the floor incidents.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to respond to this, so please get to that.
Draymond Green has been dirty playing for so long. He's been suspended 16. I think kicked out of 16 games 1 year, if I'm not mistaken, or technicals if I'm right. You got the 5-game suspension. You had a suspension. You had a suspension this year, if I'm not mistaken. Prior to this one. My thing is, how did he get 5 and that man got 25?
Well, that's not apples to apples comparison. That's just like when people say, how did Calvin Ridley get the whole season, but somebody else didn't get much for helmet-to-helmet hits or whatever, because of one for gambling. But back to the Ja Morant thing. Ja Morant shouldn't have got suspended a single game. He didn't violate any league rules. They got him for conduct detrimental to league. Conduct detrimental to league is BS. They always use that when they can't come up with anything on you. It's just like when you get arrested for resisting arrest or for disorderly conduct. When they don't have anything on you, they come up with conduct detrimental to league. Here's what bothered me about the Ja Morant situation. He legally possessed those guns and did the only league violation that would have been is if he would have had them on and if he would have had those guns present in his possession on at an arena on NBA business. Now if he was in like Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Cretton, if it had been a situation like that where he would have had it in the arena on a team playing and it was confirmed that they had it there, yes, that's worth of suspension because you're violating league rules because you're possessing a firearm on NBA business on the premises of what's NBA property as far as NBA venue and all that on NBA business. And his situation, one, he appeared to have one at some nightclub. And so as far as how it got in his possession at that club in Denver, we don't know. But as far as what was seen and what was confirmed, he had it there at the nightclub. By law, he owned the gun legally. That's not illegal. And I know what the counter is going to be, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. The other one, he was riding down the street in his car, possessed it legally, didn't commit a crime, just flashed it in the Instagram IG Live. And for that, he got suspended. Now, for the record, is it stupid? Yes, it's stupid. But it's not illegal. And I know someone's going to say, well, the NBA has their own rules. I'm glad you mentioned that. There are pictures of LeBron James and Draymond Green holding machine guns and stuff. They're posing with it. There are one was at a gun range. There's other pictures of Chris Kaman when he was playing with whoever. He was still in the league at the time back in like 2013-14. Multiple pictures he posted on Instagram, him posing with firearms, and there was never any suspension on that. And I know some people say, well, that's not the same thing. I'll say, why is it not the same thing? In both situations, you have 2 gentlemen who are posing with guns that from what we understand, they legally possessed and not doing anything illegal with them. But yet one player gets suspended 25 games, whereas the other, there was no suspension or any kind of disciplinary action, outrage at all. And so in that case, I can't see what's different. One might say, well, one he was posing at the gun store, one he was at his house posing. Okay, the guy was at his car posing with it. What's the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The difference is you got one who, when it comes to black and white America, gun culture, it's funny when it comes to these Second Amendment purists, when a young black man is legally possessing a gun and is shown with taking a picture of himself with it, Nobody's talking about the Second Amendment. He's being called a thug and needs to be punished. But when a white person has a gun, and then their Second Amendment right needs to be protected. For example, you remember the field goal kicker, Jay Feely,
Yep.
who works on CBS. He posted a picture on Instagram when he was his daughter was going to the prom, and he had a shotgun that he was holding up at his prom date, saying, "You better get her home safely," and all the stuff. And he was holding the shotgun up on the picture, and nobody's calling him a thug. He didn't get suspended by CBS or anything like that. And so if someone said, "Well, the NBA has the rules," I'm like, and the NBA has an image and a brand. Where was that? Where was the consciousness of that imaging and branding when Chris Kaman was taking pictures posing with his guns? So the point I'm making, the reason it's a big deal with Ja Morant is because it's a black guy with dreadlocks playing hip hop music in the background while posing with the gun. The gun is not the issue; it's the imagery. It's the imagery of a black man with dreads listening to hip hop with a gun, and that's why he got suspended.
Well, okay, I get what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But you know what the now this is how I look at it, and I'm not disagreeing with nothing you said. The Where is it anywhere in the NBA, whatever you want to call it, handbook, rule book, guidelines, whatever? Yeah, that you can't you have to be a certain way, meaning like you said, black person with dreadlocks or listening to rap music. That's kind of like targeting somebody. Like,
Of course, that's the point I'm making.
yeah, it's targeting.
If that would have been name a white guy in the league right now that I'm talking about that fits that does. I ain't talking about Tyler Hero or nothing. I'm talking about someone that has that kind of has that good country boy culture. Let's just say, for example, let's go football. Let's say a guy like Jared Allen that used to play for the Minnesota Vikings defensive end.
Right.
Let's say you got him wearing cowboy boots and taking a picture out on the farm, posing with guns. Austin Reeves, there we go. Let's say if Austin Reeves posed with a picture with holding some rifles and he's out there firing shots out of the farm out in the field somewhere, and he poses with pictures of him, and he got on cowboy boots and some camouflage. He's not going to get suspended.
No, he's not.
No. And the reason, and then someone said, "Well, how do you know that?" Because Chris Kaman didn't get suspended when he did the same thing. These are facts. This is not my opinion. Go look up now Chris Kaman posing with guns. Anybody who's watching this right now, Chris Kaman posted multiple pictures while he was playing in the NBA, posing with guns and firearms, and he was never punished by the NBA. There was never any uproar about it.
No, none at all.
These are facts. Ja Morant, who also legally posed pictures holding a gun, is suspended 25 games. Neither one of them violated any league rules because neither one of them, as far as we know, and as far as any investigation is concerned, had it on while on NBA business or on the premises of where an NBA event or NBA business was taking place. Neither one of them, both of them were over in private sector locations, not on NBA business posing with guns. The only difference is one is a black guy with dreadlocks and listening to hip hop in the background. And whereas if it had on cowboy boots and camouflage listening to country music and had a clean cut, it wouldn't have been an issue. And if anybody want to tell me that that's not true, you can't look me with a straight face and tell me that I'm wrong.
You're right. I agree.
John should have not been suspended. He did not commit a crime. He did not violate the league rules when it comes to firearms. He got suspended just because there was an uproar and people got upset about it. And then Adam Silver, being the weak-minded appeaser that he is, suspended him for it. Whereas David Stern did not suspend Chris Kaman.
No, he didn't suspend Chris Kaman at all.
There's somebody in these comments to tell me to tell me why I'm wrong. And give me a logic, because when I've debated with people on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, it's not the same thing," but they can never tell me why it's not the same. And then the thing that bothers me about it, you got so many black people going around trying to defend this man's suspension, trying to say that he was wrong.
But what did he do wrong? That's the point.
He legally possessed a gun and did not use it in an illegal manner.
Right? Yeah, y'all.
So like, where are you for this black guy with dreadlocks?
And I don't want to beat on the bush, but they act like the man went out here, and I'm not being funny, but when I say this, they act like that man went out here, went to somewhere in somebody's city, and shot up whatever. Did none of that. Now,
nope.
This is the point you're making. the gun laws in America are only fit for the white man, whether
Well, in
he's
most cases,
wrong or white.
shootings, and this is statistics. This is not me making a racist statement. Most
No, no,
mass,
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah,
yeah, and most mass shootings have been documented. Usually, the shooter is a white male. That's factually documented. But yet, when in the situations where they haven't killed themselves, when they're apprehended, they're typically apprehended alive.
yeah.
Dylan Roof was apprehended alive, and I know this is not about basketball. Dylan Roof, who shot up the church in Charlotte, was apprehended alive and taken to a Burger King in Kings Mountain because he was hungry. And nobody talked about, and he was armed and had killed multiple people, was apprehended alive and gently taken to a Burger King to get something to eat. So you can't tell me there isn't a difference.
Preach, preach. You're preaching, bro. Preach.
This is not my opinion. This is what transpired.
This is factual
This is
stuff.
not how I feel. This is what we all know, what we saw, what we witnessed.
But no, like you said, that we already know if this was on the other foot. If this shoe was put on the other foot, this would not be a peaceful. This would not be a peaceful stand down. The man can put his hands up and give up, and they're gonna let 20-something rounds loose.
And granted, I'm not this big gun culture guy. I mean, I don't have a problem with people owning firearms, but I do think that we need to be careful who we let firearms get in the hands of. But at the same time, let's be consistent when it comes to our views on when it comes to gun ownership versus gun control versus gun rights and all that. It shouldn't be one-sided. If we're going to be Second Amendment purists, there'll be Second Amendment purists across the board. If you're going to be gun control across the board, but don't pick and choose based on who it is.
Right. Let's read some of these comments. They also punish him for embarrassing the brand of the NBA, but they label him.
Right.
They label him for sure. As a black man, that's our reality. Fair or not, he still has to attempt to show a higher level of professionalism than that, though. He's a grown man and a millionaire at that.
I want to respond to that.
Okay.
Yes, I prefaced it by saying what he did was dumb. It was dumb as can be. But when it comes to the standard of professionalism, that standard of professionalism should be held across the board to everyone.
Right. Absolutely. It should be. I mean, I agree with it. Like, these both are good points. Like, that the NBA labeled him as a thug.
Right.
So
And we know thugs are cold.
so let me bring this up. You labeled him a thug, right? But you drafted him with that. Did you draft him with that same intentions when he was fresh as a rookie in the league?
Well, I mean,
Now that
he brings a lot of attention on himself that he shouldn't bring. And I guess Nick is gone, but I'm here. He brings a lot of attention on himself, and we switch sides. He brings a lot of attention on himself that he shouldn't bring, trying to be something that he's not. Because think about it, he's not a thug. This dude grew up middle class in Sumter, South Carolina. He's not about that life, if you know what I mean. He's no more about that life than I am. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm definitely not about that life. That'd be just like me if I was going around trying to portray something that I'm not. And he's trying to portray something that he's not. And he's hanging around, I think, the wrong people. And I think you got to be careful and who you surround yourself with, because sometimes you surround yourself with people who are actually jealous of you, who want to lead you to failure and want to lead you to your downfall. And he's going to cost himself a lot of money if he's not careful. He's already cost himself money. And his team ultimately has been hurt by this too. This also brings me to the point where them other years when he was injured and the Grizzlies won games and people were saying the Grizzlies are better without him. Now that they're 2-8 or whatever, and people's like, oh, you see how he's hurting his team by not playing. I thought people said they were better without him. Now that they're getting the heck whooped out of him night in and night out, and he's not there. Now all of a sudden they need him. I'm about to say, which one is it? Nevertheless, I don't think he's a bad kid. He needs to surround himself with better people. He was dumb because when he got that 8-game suspension the first time and then going to turn around and do the same thing again. Now, I still stand by my stance that he shouldn't have been suspended. But since he knew what happened the first time and knew that he got punished for the first incident, That was dumb as could be to turn around and do it again weeks later. That still was dumb. The fact that he knew that he was being watched and targeted. It's just like this. If you get wrongly pulled over by the police, but then you still got something illegal in your car, that's still stupid because you know you're being targeted by them, but yet you're going to give them an out by having something illegal in your car. I look at it kind of like that. Grant, I said the entire time, I said, this is as stupid as can be because he knows it's costing himself money. It's just at the same time, I think he's been punished excessively for being stupid when he didn't violate anything.
Right. I don't think he violated no kind of like.
Do you notice the suspension wasn't for the firearm? They hit him with conduct detrimental to the league. And conduct detrimental to the league is just like when they wrongly try to arrest somebody and then they find out they got the wrong person, but then they arrest them for resisting arrest.
So basically, I got arrest you. I got arrest you for something.
Let me finish. Or they hit you with disorderly conduct after they approached you by mistaken identity, attempted to interrogate you by mistaken identity, and you refused to cooperate. Then they realized they had the wrong person, but then they get you for disorderly conduct. So they just at that point, the conduct detrimental to the league is like, we don't have anything specific that we can suspend them on, so we're just going to hit them with conduct detrimental to the league.
So basically, I got to arrest you for something.
Right.
I got to arrest you for something.
And here's what I think. I think the only reason he didn't appeal it is because I don't think he wanted to be investigated into. Because in my heart of hearts, I feel like that there may have been more information that he didn't want to get revealed that could have got him in serious trouble, so he just left it alone. Like the whole thing of that nightclub thing, when he got the 8-game suspension the first time, I wanted him to appeal that, but I think the reason he didn't appeal it because they were in Denver. The team flew to Denver. So then the question is, how did that gun get in his possession in Denver if you're not allowed to take it on the team plane? And I think he didn't want that to get investigated. So I think he just left it alone. And I think the second go round, I think because there may be underlying information that he doesn't want revealed. And this is just my speculation. This is not anything reported or anything I'm stating as fact. This is just my speculation and opinion. I feel like there's more that he didn't want to get revealed, so he decided to leave it alone before a bigger can of worms got opened up.
Yeah, that could be very true. That could be, I mean, possible.
And I think the league knew they had him back in the corner, and I think it was more of a, if you want to go down that road, we could really break you. So you might as well just take this and be quiet. And I think same thing with Jim Harbaugh. And I think Jim Harbaugh, he was threatening to sue and all that night, so he's going to accept the 3-game suspension. And the Big Ten is saying that they're stopping their investigation now. I think what happened there, Jim Harbaugh knew that if the Big Ten got investigated more, they were going to find more stuff and they were going to get in more trouble. So he just said, I'm just taking this punishment and not say anything before we get into worse trouble. I think that's the same concept here with John Moran as well.
Speaking of that, listen, man, you know, I don't know what to say with it. I feel like the Big Ten was out. They was out to get him anyway. But I mean, whether he was going right.
I mean, you get more. No one, I think Harbaugh's lying. You're talking about something he didn't know anything about. His assistant, he admitted that his assistant did it, but he was like he didn't know that his assistant was doing that. That's a lie. And if it's not a lie, it's still lack of institutional control. You're the head coach, and if your assistants are doing anything, you're responsible for what your assistants do. That's at every level because they work under you, so you're responsible for it. So I don't want to. That's
like me telling you we having a show tonight, but I don't come, and I'm saying I didn't know.
Or since it's your show, if I didn't show up, or let's say let's say for example, you had a construction company,
right?
And let's say on your truck that you have me drive to different sites on to do work for because I work for you. I'm having illegal substances and doing illegal things on your truck and moving illegal things on your truck. You're still going to be held liable for it because that happened through your company. Your company's doing, and they're going to say lack of institutional control. In this situation with Harbaugh, number one, he's lying. He knew. But let's just say if he didn't, let's play devil's advocate. It's still lack of institutional control because somebody on your staff is under the auspices of your organization is doing something that's against the rules. And it's funny, like Rick Pitino in Louisville, when they were doing their scandal and all that, when they were paying strippers to sleep with recruits and all that, he claimed that he didn't know. And they still got him for lack of institutional control. It's funny that these people who work for these coaches do these things, and the coaches always claim they don't know. I'm like, so you're just willfully blind to it? Because how can you not know? You're the head coach. And then the Charlotte 49ers, he used to be Jim Harbaugh's top assistant. He spoke out last week and defended him, talking about something. I didn't know anything about it either. And he said, if I would have known, Jim would have known. He says, if I didn't know, I know Jim didn't know because I was Jim's right-hand man. I'm like, What at the end of the day, he's the head coach, and if one of his assistant coaches is doing something while working under the auspices of his organization and does something that's against the rules, then he's it's still under his organization, and that's lack of institutional control from his part, and he's going to be held accountable for it. I'm sorry, and it's funny
Well,
that every time something happens illegal, whatever, when the assistants do it, the head coach just magically doesn't know.
that's just like that thing, like you said, with the fraternal thing. You remember it came out, the whole ACC had a list of things that happened where players were getting paid money. They had this whole
Particularly,
list. Yeah, it wasn't just Louisville, it was Carolina. It was a lot of other schools that was involved in that little thing, but it went away for some odd reason. Something happened and it went under the rug. We didn't hear
like
nothing
with
else about it.
Butch Davis at North Carolina with the academic scandal, when he was
Yep.
claiming he didn't know, and this, I'm like, how did you not know?
Oh, they get those things. They know these things.
You
That's
gotta
just
know.
like
You're the head coach.
right. That's just like okay. It's a good example of how you would know. And it's just a plain out of sight thing. All right. When Dion does his press conferences now, he does acknowledge his players with academic awards that have good grades during that period. So
Right,
it's no way you don't know.
right, and you definitely know, and you know what your players are doing academically too, because they have to
Right.
maintain academic standards to be eligible.
Exactly. So that whole thing with that he didn't know is baloney. I get you trying to save your man, but your season should. Well, me personally,
And,
I kind of hope it
and then
would have
the
happened.
black guy that's his top assistant when they won that game. Oh, Coach Harbaugh, I love you, man. Up there crying, looking like I ain't gonna say what I'm not gonna say the word. It's a word I want to use, but I'm not gonna use that word.
I know.
People people say it about Kanye West. People say that word about but I'm not gonna say it.
Tim
But
Scott.
anyway, I'm gonna look like a fool over there crying. "Ah." I'm like playing victim. I'm like acting like and him and Harbaugh acting like he was victim when he tried to file a suit, and then that assistant out there crying just like they're being victimized with it when they were the ones who created the problem. Y'all are the ones that were cheating, and then now you want to act like you're a victim just because you got caught. I'm like, come on, man.
Me biases, they should be punished because I'm trying to get my
And
team in the
he's
playoffs.
very lucky that the NCAA didn't get involved in him or nothing. So he better take that 3-game suspension and keep his mouth. And I think that's why he's decided just to keep his mouth shut because he don't want anything else to come out. So it's like, you know what? Let me eat this 3-game suspension, call it a day. They're not being banned from the postseason or anything like that, so they still qualify for the college football playoff and all that. So he need to keep his mouth shut, serve that 3-game suspension, and hopefully they win their games and they can have an opportunity to play the college football playoffs.
Hey, look, and I'm gonna say this: this is far from over. Just because it's 3 games, this is not. This is far from over because this
Well,
is
he already
gonna.
said he's dropping the suit and he's accepting the 3-game suspension.
Yeah, I know. I was saying like, okay, the 3 game suspension, right? That
The Big Ten
sake of
and the Big Ten
argument.
said since he's accepting the suspension, they're ending their probe. So there's like, all right, we're good. We're leaving it alone.
I mean, that start another one.
Nah, I mean they would have no reason. They reached an agreement today, so I mean he's good. If he keeps his mouth shut, he's good.
Let's see how long that works.
Keep his mouth shut, he probably go back to the NFL soon anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
If we fire Frank Reich or whatever, I'd love to have him down here in Charlotte.
Well, speaking of that, I've been seeing a lot of more people post about this whole is it the coach or the quarterback? Is it the coach or the quarterback? Is it the coach or the quarterback?
It's not a debate. The quarterback is a rookie, so that's going to fall on the coach, and not on the coach. The offensive line is bad. We got a lot of dumb, low IQ people who analyze the game.
Yeah.
Did you not see the kids getting hit and sacked and then running for his life every time he dropped back to throw? Of course, I
Right.
mean, coaching is an issue, but I'm like, you're sitting there trying to blame a franchise downfall on a rookie quarterback who has no offensive line, no wide receivers around him. I'm like, get out of here.
He's just trying to get through the season.
Yeah, he gets hit every time he drops back to throw. That's a lot of our fans are just dumb, and I mean that's the best I can put it.
I mean, the real fans know.
The intelligent fans know, but we got a low IQ fan base around here.
Well, y'all take on that team from down there in Texas.
Dallas Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they got to play the game. Let's see what happens.
yeah. We'll see what happens. We seen Dallas
Dallas
Losing
lost to the
worse.
Arizona Cardinals earlier this year, so I mean, you never know.
Yeah, with Josh Dobbs quarterbacking then? Yeah, I think he was.
Yes, yeah, the Cardinals are 2-7, so I mean, they just won their second game Sunday. So I mean, I'm not. Would I bet on Carolina to beat Dallas? Of course not. Dallas should win the game handily. I mean, if they come and play right. The point I'm making is the game still has to be played because you would have thought they would beat the Arizona Cardinals handily too. They lost that game. The point I'm making is if you don't play well and you don't prepare and don't come out ready, you can still lose to anyone in the NFL at any given point. Is what I'm
Right.
saying. So the point I'm making is they still have to play the game. You never know what can happen in the game. For example, sometimes they lost the top linebacker, like Chilton said. Sometimes you can have bad turnovers. I mean, for example, you can have red zone turnovers. You can have special teams gaffes. There are a lot of things that can happen. Sometimes you can muff a punt and the other team recover. There are things that can happen that can turn the tide of a game, that can keep a team in the game to where you never know what might happen. So I mean, the point I'm making is the game still has to be played. More than likely, Dallas wins that game comfortably, but you never know. They still got to go out there and play.
You gotta go
They
play.
don't hand W's out. You have to go out there and take them. And this
Yeah,
is not college. This is not high school. This is NFL. Everyone you're playing against are professionals. If you don't come out ready to play, you can be beat.
Getting on to my next topic. Can Colorado win their last two games?
They certainly can, but I don't think they will.
Okay.
They could have won all 12 games more what they can do. But, of course they can.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will. Who they play Saturday?
No, actually, it's tomorrow. They play Washington State tomorrow,
They might
and
win
then
that.
they'll finish the season out in Utah.
They're gonna lose to Utah. Well, Washington State. Where's that game being played?
The next two games are road games.
They might beat Washington State. You know what? I'm gonna say they beat Washington State, lose to Utah, finish 5-7.
Okay.
They're not beating Utah, so at Utah, but I think they got a shot to beat Washington State.
And my thing is, from this year, as far as I've seen, is offensive line is terrible. Well, he did, so he addressed that they were terrible. Not terrible, but they needed people there.
Those are the guys that he brought in there.
All those linemen.
The majority of the team he brought in what 80-something new players. He got to own that.
Yeah, you gotta own
You
that.
bring in 80-something players, you talk the kind of junk you talk about. We're coming. You got to own that. I respect them. I want to preface this. I respect them, and I would like to see because because especially in college football, I would like to see being an African American head coach coaching major D1 college football. I want him to be successful, but at the same time, he's not immune to criticism. He's not exempt from criticism, and when he has failures, it's okay to call him out on it. And at this point, he was the one that set that tone, just like Charlotte 49ers coach did all that talking in off season, and then we're sitting there at 3-7. When you talk that talk like that, and you don't live up to the talk that you talk, you're the one that set that standard and set those expectations. So if you set those expectations, you didn't live up to those expectations, you can't be immune to criticism because of it. And to me, criticizing for them not meeting the expectation that he set, I think is a fair criticism. That doesn't mean that he's doing a bad job. That doesn't mean that I don't think he'll be successful. It doesn't mean any of that. The point I'm making right now is that they haven't met the expectations that he publicly set. And to me, any criticism of that is fair.
Well, I think
That's not trying to bring a black man down. Just because someone criticized that his program didn't meet the expectations that he set this year is not trying to bring a black man down. It's just fair, constructive criticism of the results based on the expectation that he set. Go ahead.
My thing is, I think the gravy train got real hot after what was the Colorado State?
Well, after they beat TCU, TCU at the time was ranked.
Well, I will say TCU. Then
they beat Nebraska.
They beat Nebraska. Then
they won a double overtime game against Colorado State, a bad Colorado State football team that's not even winning in the Mountain West. But go ahead.
And then the reality kicked in when they had to go to Eugene.
Yeah, and people got mad at Oregon for beating them, like that's a crime.
Oregon, you got to understand. Now, I want to say this, and I'm not saying this as a fan, but I'm saying this as somebody that's a fan of college football. Oregon is always somewhere in that top 10 mix every year. I don't know why people think that's a new thing.
Yeah, but people act like they got mad and when they were 35-0. And he was talking about we're not satisfied. I'm like, what's wrong with that? You should never be satisfied with your work. You should always be trying to be better. So I didn't, and I know the whole thing about the plan for clicks thing. Some people got their little feelings wanting to cry about it. Trash talk is part of the game. Yeah, that was trash talk. He didn't have to say that. Yeah, he was being a jerk when he said it, but so be it. He said it. They beat the heck out of him. If he didn't like it, then do something about it. You could have gone out there and
beat him.
Worried about it.
Exactly. Listen,
like cry me.
And like I said, a lot of people sat there. I think the week of the game, and people was like, "Yeah, Colorado gonna beat Oregon," and I was like, "You just don't know. You just don't know."
And then they tried to insinuate that Dan Lanning was a racist because they beat him. I'm like, blowing the team out is not an act of racism. I just want to make that clear, people. They beat him. They did what they were supposed to. What did Herm Edwards say? You played to win the game.
The game. Listen, and that's another crazy. Another crazy thing. Okay, so he's a racist. Why did he recruit a bunch of black players?
Well, I mean, you can still be racist and recruit black players. Let's not get silly. Let's not be silly. But I'm saying, but in this context, what I'm saying,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, you know, I love you like a brother, but let's not be silly. I mean, you can. We know plenty of times where our coach could be racist and still recruit black players. I mean, that ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing. But in the context of what we're talking about, in the context of what we're talking about, you're supposed to play to defeat your opponent. Yes, he popped off at the mouth, but they backed it up. So, and the thing about it, trash talk's always been a part of the game. And if you don't like the way someone's talking to you during the game, the best way to shut them up is go out there and defeat them.
Well, look, what Deion said it best. They got us.
And Deion didn't have a problem with it because after his press conference, he even said, "Hey," he said he want to take shots. He said, "I don't take shots, but God bless him." He said they won. He said so they could take shots. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Deion. It's his little what word I want to use, his stands. So you can say the people that kisses behind all the time. No, he's not going to Texas A&M. Texas A&M ain't. How about this? Texas A&M ain't coming after him. They had Kevin Sumlin. They already did their good deed, just like Texas did with Charlie Strong. They did their good deed. So they're not about to do it twice. So, they had Kevin Sumlin. Deion wouldn't want to. That's a lot of pressure. Texas A&M because Texas A&M want to be something that they're not. Texas A&M want to be a national contender, which is what they're not, and they want to be like national championship or bust. You don't have time to build at Texas A&M. They want to win right away. They've had top 10 recruiting classes of the last 4 years and still underachieved, which is why they fired the current coach, who was a prior national championship winning coach when he was at Florida State. I don't think Deion. I don't think they want Deion. I don't think Deion want them, and I'll leave it at that. I think
Colorado's going to pay to keep him. They're just going to keep him.
And then his sons they're going to transfer once. They wouldn't be able to transfer twice and be eligible to play immediately. So I think he's staying where he is. But for the record, Deion, even when they lose, whatever, he hasn't been the one crying about it. It's those his bandwagoners. These folks that never watched college football before until this year because they're on this bandwagon who cry every time he loses and every time someone says anything critical about him. They're the ones I'm getting tired of because they're acting like criticism isn't a part of the game. They're acting like trash talk isn't a part of the game. And most of them don't know anything about football or college football anyway. They're just jumping on the bandwagon and want to have conversations about stuff they don't know anything about.
Right. But that's the thing I got is now USC, that was a winnable game. They
were down that whole game. They were getting the heck beat out of them, and they rallied back late. They rallied back. They were never in position to win that game. They were down 41 to 14 or something like that. They ended up.
USC has an all-time bad defense.
They got back in the game late, but they had an opportunity. They scored. They were down with like 41 to 24. 41 to. They were down like 41-21 in the fourth. Anyway, they cut it. They were down 48 to 34. They got it to 48-34. They were down 48-21, then 48-28. Then late they scored a garbage time touchdown to make it 48-41. They attempted an onside kick and didn't recover, and USC nailed the ball down. They never had the ball with a chance to tie the game. I apologize. They never had the ball with an opportunity to tie or take the lead. Is what I'm saying.
And then you had which I thought was a game that you know what? Arizona State played a lot of teams close this year. Why they
played Washington close.
Yeah, a
That
lot of
one.
these. Yeah, but Colorado definitely they build that one out, and they went on the L game ever since. So
Yeah, they've
the UCLA game was a back and forth.
when it
That
comes,
could have been
hold on
either
for a
way.
second. When it comes to Colorado, their season term when they were when they were acting like they won the national championship when they were up 29-0 on Stanford, and when they blew that game, that was a game that you had to have if you were trying to be trying to solidify yourself as a bowl team against a very poor Stanford team, up 29-0 at home. And when they blew that game, they were celebrating at halftime like they had won the Super Bowl. You got a quarterback IG page showing where he's posting merch and all that kind of stuff, and then you come back in the second half and you end up losing that game. That's a game that you couldn't lose, and you blew that opportunity. And the people got upset when folks were ripping them for it. But I mean, that's worthy of being ripped for. You blow a 29 point lead against a very poor team that you're supposed to be better than, and end up losing that game. You're bound to be criticized. And that loss was the one I think that turned their season.
Yeah, it did.
They were 3-2 going into that game. No, they were 4-2 going into that game.
4-2 going into that game, regardless of
That would
those
have
two,
put
the
them at five and
USC and
two.
Oregon
That would have
game.
put them at five. That would have put them at 5-2, and one game away from bowl eligibility. Right now they get um they're what are they 4-6 right now? They would be 5-5 had they won the game.
Yeah, yeah, 4-6. They got to win the next two to even be bowl eligible.
Yep.
So that's what I'm
And
saying.
if they do that and they get bowl eligibility, then this season was definitely a success. When you got hired to a program that was 1-11, you got rid of that entire roster, brought a new roster in of a brand new roster in, and in 1 year able to get the bowl eligibility, win 6 games. So let's say you're going to win your bowl game, go 7-6, and have a winning season after going to after overhauling a 1-11 program. That would be a success. But at this point, they need to beat Washington State before they can worry about any of that.
You're right, and I think the now I say from last week, they did lose to Arizona. The offense looked way much better when Pat. I think Pat Sherman called them plays now.
Yes, he did. But I mean, whether it was Pat Shermer or whoever, if you can't, if you block, whatever offense is going to be better.
Yeah,
But and that's a game they could have won. But the ball didn't bounce their way, and it's unfortunately they didn't win it.
He said, "Uh-oh, we lost the." Okay, there you go. There you go.
Okay, now we're to switch sides again. Now things are back to where they belong. Yes,
Okay.
Travis Hunter, losing Travis Hunter did hurt. That's their best offensive player, and arguably the best defensive player, just their best
Decent play.
overall player. Of course, that hurt when you lost Travis Hunter for a few games, and they got lost because of a dirty hit. I mean, if we're gonna be frank about it, but as bad as it sounds, injuries are a part of the game, man.
They are.
I mean,
late hits are too. So that's why I said that it's going to happen.
yeah, I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize it. That hurt like crazy when they lost Travis Hunter those games, but nevertheless, you can't blow a 29-point lead against Stanford whether you got Travis Hunter or not.
Well, you had Travis Hunter that game.
He was back by then.
Yeah, he played that game. He scored. Yeah, he was back then. That was actually, I think that was his first game back.
Oh. And by the way, they need to decide whether they're gonna play on offense or on defense. This ain't high school.
Dion wanted to play both sides. I think he needs to just play defense. My opinion.
So, in your opinion, you think he's a better corner than he is wide receiver?
I think so.
Okay, and I'm not saying there's right or wrong answer. I just want to know what your take is because I'm like he was recruited as a corner, but we know he plays receiver as well, and I'm just wondering. Just like Keenan Allen was recruited as a safety, but he ended up playing receiver because he played receiver in high school. But Keenan Allen could have been an All-American safety as well and could have played in the NFL as safety too. So I was wondering, did you feel like that Hunter, whenever he does enter the NFL draft, do you think when he enters the NFL draft, will he go as a receiver or go as a corner? Man, the thing about it, if corner is this position, I would love to have him in Carolina like in the next 2 years or so to play corner. That big corner, I love big corners. Big corners who still have the agility of small corners because the thing about it, they can, especially with our scheme, even whether we're playing cover 3 or whether you're playing man, the thing about it, he can blanket guys with his long arms and has great closing space with the length of his arms and legs. And when you're playing zone or whatever, the passing lane is not as got because Chin is tall too at safety. When you got long arm guys, those passing lanes are tighter because you don't have as much room to fit the ball through. So I love big, long, lanky corners. in the
I feel
same
like it's
like
the
Richard
mix
Sherman.
of
Richard Sherman in
yeah,
his prime, a 6'3" corner. Brandon Browner in his prime, 6'4" corner. Brandon Browner's hold your head up, Brandon Browner. He probably locked up for a long time. But when you got
yeah,
big
yeah.
corners like that, man, they can cover so much ground, and they have a great closing space. So I mean, I love big corners.
Yeah, I think he'll have a bigger impact at corner than receiving at the
I
next
wonder, can he
level.
play? Will he eventually be a free safety in the NFL? I just that he's so rangy. Look at him long. I just see him being that rangy ball hawking free safety.
I mean, I wouldn't say they wouldn't try it, but I think
You know, Ronnie Lott was drafted as a corner, but ended up being a Hall of Fame free safety.
yeah, he absolutely would.
And with a guy that talented, you want him on your roster, you can figure out what to do with him after you get him.
Oh, he's a generational talent. Don't get it
Yeah,
twisted.
with a guy like
He is.
Travis Hunter, with Travis Hunter, if you're a scout and you're drafting or GM, the first part to get him on your roster first, and then let the coaches figure out what to do with him.
Yeah, at
A guy
that
like
point,
that, as talented as he is, you'll figure out what to do with him. First thing is get him, acquire him, get him on your roster first, and then figure out the best way to use him.
well, I'm pretty sure he ain't coming out this year. Next year is the year that he probably
Right,
is
more than likely.
more
You,
than
you
likely
never
next year.
you never know. I mean, I feel like he'll come back, but if the scout said
See,
if the scout saying he's like a top 5 draft pick this year, you might want to go this year because you never know. What if you tear your ACL or something and now you drop to the third round? So you just never,
you
you
never
never.
know. Yeah, you never know.
Is
I
he
think
eligible? Hold up. Is he eligible to go this year? What year is he in?
technically this is if you go by classroom. I think he's a junior. My
Or did he,
classroom.
how long has it been since he graduated from high school? I'm asking. How many years did he play? 1 year or 2 years at Jackson State?
I think it was. I want to say it was one at Jackson,
And one
and
at
then
Colorado. So
one at Colorado.
he just graduated from high school 2 years ago.
Yeah, it should be 2 years. But I'm saying
Oh,
class on
he
field stats. I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm not talking about field wise. I'm talking about they go by how long they go. You have to be 3 years removed from your high school graduation to enter the NFL draft. So
So
what I'm trying to figure out, how long has it been since he graduated from high school?
I think let's see, Shador. I don't really remember because Shador was before him, and then it was him. So I think he came the year after, which was 2020. No, 21.
Hey, chill down.
2021.
Google the year, chill down. If you're still here, or the two people that are on here, can one of you Google when Travis Hunter graduated from high school and put it in the comments, please, ma'am or sir?
I want to say it was 21. I feel like it was 21.
We got two people in here, so somebody can Google that for us, and please
Yeah,
type it in the comments,
I think it
or
was 21.
text it to Nick or whatever.
That's why I
The question
want to
is,
say it was
what
20.
year did Travis Hunter graduate from high school? That's all I want to know.
It might be 20. Nah, probably 21. I don't know.
But if he graduate, if he's less than 3 years removed from high school graduation, he's not eligible to enter NFL draft anyway. If he is 3 years removed, at least 3 years removed from his high school graduation, then he is eligible to enter the NFL draft. But nevertheless, overall, I agree with you that I feel like he'll return to Colorado for the next season.
Yeah, he's coming back because I think he still got it. Even if let's just say I don't know if he is a junior, but I think he still had another year of eligibility anyway because he got hurt. He
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
play one
I ain't worried about the eligibility part. I'm just talking about the eligibility, the amount of
for
years
draft.
before he can enter the
Yeah,
NFL draft. I know with COVID and everything, I know he got eligibility left to play. He probably got about 4. He probably could play about 3 more years if he wanted to.
he could be a Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is not. I don't understand that running joke about Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a 5th-year senior. That is not uncommon in college football. People are acting like a Frank Harris or whatever, the quarterback at UTSA. He's a 7th-year senior. That's ridiculous. Bo Nix is just a 5th-year senior. That is common. That is very common in college football. I'm talking about it's been common over the last 20 or 30 years. That is nothing new. Over the
Yeah,
last 5
the
years,
medical red shirts and all that
5th-year
stuff.
seniors. But
Yeah.
everybody keeps like Bo Nix might be a 6th-year senior or something, or a 7th-year senior. He's just a 5th-year senior.
Nah, he ain't like the dude that was at Oregon, but who transferred to Miami because he was there like 9 years.
De'Aaron King.
I think that was his name.
He
Yeah.
played like 7. He played in Houston first, and then he
He
played at
graduated
Miami.
in 22, so it's 1 year.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, so he got 2 more. Well, this year and next year.
So that means the fall of 22, he was at Jackson State, and the fall of 23 is Colorado. So he's a sophomore regardless.
Okay.
At least classroom sophomore at least. Yeah, so he would
We got a 21.
now that's what I'm saying 21.
High school, he graduated. No, he had to graduate in 21 because 22 he played at Jackson, so he had to graduate 21.
Well, I'm talking about even if he would have but even if he would have graduated in 22, he still could play the fall at Jackson because you'd have graduated in June, and the season wouldn't start to August. Just like you go,
It might be
just like
20. It might
even
be
I didn't play
22.
down football, but I graduated high school in June of 06 and was at UNC Charlotte in August of 06.
Right.
But
So yeah,
nevertheless,
it might be 22. It probably is 22.
well,
Cause
at least both guys who were in the chat looked at least interacting with us and gave us an answer. But nevertheless, either way, um,
he top 5 draft pick regardless of what year he
yeah,
comes out.
whenever he does, so long as he has reasonable health, he will be at least a top 10 draft pick. I know when he comes out and enters the NFL draft, whatever year that may be.
I think he might be in the class with Drake May now.
Well, Drake may, I feel like leaving after this year.
Think so?
I mean, it's almost certain.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if Drake May returns to North Carolina next year.
It got to be a lot for him to come back.
Drake May is going to be a top 10 draft pick. He's gone.
Oh, speaking of coaches for Texas A&M, they can have the Duke coach because
He ain't gonna leave Duke. He's not gonna leave Duke right now to go in. There's very little pressure next. See, at Duke, he can go 8-4 and get the keys to the city. Texas A&M, you go 8-4. And Texas A&M, you go 8-4. You get they want to drown you in the river. There's certain programs you can't go 8-4. Miami, Florida, Texas. I ain't talking about A&M because I'm talking about the real school down there in Texas.
The Longhorns.
Yeah, USC, and I'm talking about Southern California. I think anybody about that know good darn well I ain't talking about South Carolina. USC, schools like that, you can't go 8-4 and think you're just gonna have a peaceful day.
Nah,
you can't go 8-4 and just think that you can go be with your family and be in peace.
You really can't have one loss. One loss.
Just like in high school football, you can't go 7-3 at Richmond County and think that life is gonna be good.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah, you can. There's certain programs you can't go 7-3 at Crest and think that everything's just gonna be okay. You can't go 7-3 at Dudley and just think that everybody's gonna say good job. There's certain places you just can't do that
because the expectations are high from the get.
Yeah, like granted, you can go 7-3 at North Stanley. You can go 7-3 at South Stanley. You can go 7-3 at West Stanley. Sorry, Stanley.
The keys to the city.
Yeah. Speaking of West Stanley, head coach Brett Morton resigned today. That job is open.
Oh.
There's a West Stanley football. That job is open.
Anyway, let me yeah. Back to this topic. But nevertheless, you know, we know Duke's a basketball school.
Absolutely.
And they're basketball school. Oh yeah, we did want to get into that.
Blue Devils in basketball.
Shout out to Arizona for beating Duke too.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Former Tar Heel came there and stole the show again.
Caleb.
Love. Mm-hmm. After the whole, everybody's mad about the whole hissy fit that him and I guess Badcock and whoever they.
Mondo Baycott.
Yeah.
I want to make one thing clear about John Shire. Right now, he's able to recruit just on the Duke name and Duke cachet. But no matter how much he recruits, he can't coach him. He's not Coach K.
No, he's really not. He's really not Coach K.
Be a drop off. Duke's going to have a good team. They're going to make the NCAA tournament. They'll probably go a couple rounds in the tournament, but they're not going to win. They're not going to be a national championship contender with John Shire. He's a drop off. He's not Coach K, and that's just it.
Ran into another CJ McCollum again. Lehigh.
Yeah, when they lost in the first round to Lehigh, I remember that.
Oh, those Duke fans were hurt.
That was
North
like in
Carolina.
2012 or something like that, right? When Duke lost to Lehigh in the tournament. Lehigh was
Yep,
like a 15, and Duke was a 2 seed, right?
yep. Beat them in Charlotte, Greensboro and Charlotte. 'Cause that was
Yeah,
round
because
of
Duke
three.
and North Carolina love to play in Greensboro and Charlotte in the tournament. They always get those convenient games.
Oh,
Just like Kansas always get to play in Kansas City for some reason too. So
hey, look, I take it. Well, not well. One year I'd say this, they put us out west. I don't know which year it was,
and
but we
Tar
did
Heels
get to
not
the
going to
Final
have
Four that
to
year.
Tar
Hmm?
Heels are maybe a Sweet 16 team.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I want to go to the Final Four, but Sweet 16 is
I
good.
think Duke and North Carolina both lose in Sweet 16 this year.
I see Duke losing in the first round. That's just me.
I think they get past the first round, but I think their ceiling is the Sweet 16. And I think
Still
North
need.
Carolina beats the Sweet 16 as well. I think North Carolina has a solid team, but I don't think they're like a national championship level team. And
No, definitely not.
I'm not a big believer in Hubert Davis either. I want him to do well, but I'm not a big believer in him.
Well, he's better than
He
Daughtry.
he had the national runners up his first year, brought the entire team back next year, preseason #1, and they didn't even make the NCAA tournament. That's unacceptable.
Now that really is. I don't know what the disconnect was that year.
He ain't that good of a
Him,
coach. That's what the disconnect is.
well, that too. I agree on that part. Him and
He's North Carolina's good deed. When they get done to him, he'll be the last. He'll be the last one.
oh yeah, hey, you're right. Because
He's their good deed. He's
Brad Dawkins.
he's he's the guy they can talk about in February every year.
Yeah.
Every February they can put a picture of him up and say, "Look what we did."
Look what he did.
Texas did
Proud
it
man.
wrong, so every February they can say, "Look what we did." Notre Dame have done it twice in football. They've done it twice. Look at
Oh,
Notre
let's not forget about basketball because they got a black woman coaching women's basketball too.
Oh, did
Yeah,
not know.
yeah, women they got a black female coach in women's basketball. So
Hey, shout out to the Notre
that
Dame Fighting Irish.
Notre Dame is
Iron
doing
Eagles
good
and
things
Virginia
out
Fighting
there.
Irish. Shout out to Notre Dame.
You can't call them that word, you know.
Well, I mean, they are
Case,
Fighting Irish. That's team name, but
well, no, I'm talking about something else. But,
yeah. Anyway,
they're
Anson
doing a
County.
good deed.
Hey, Anson County uses their fight song, so
Yeah, you know. The fight is there.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun,
well, I say this: the guy's been there what 3 years now, 2.
Marcus Freeman. Now this is the second year they're coaching football as the head coach.
They've been pretty decent.
They're decent.
Not,
They're
yeah,
decent, but they're not a national championship contender. But they're decent.
no.
But I
I
mean,
don't think.
to be fair, let him get his personnel and his imprint on the program first. And but they're decent.
As long as he don't, you know what? I'm not gonna go there. But as long as he don't get nobody with the situation about 10 years ago with the girlfriend, but we'll be okay.
I mean, he's married and got a family and everything. So
No, I'm talking about are you talking about the player?
no, I'm talking about Marcus Freeman, the head coach at Notre Dame football.
Oh no, I know that. I'm just saying I'm talking about don't get another player with an imaginary girlfriend. But
Oh, you talking Manti Te'o?
yeah,
That's old stuff, man.
I don't. I'm trying to figure out how this. You know what?
Man, we ain't even going there, man. That's such an old. You probably had this conversation in private before about. I've had that conversation with a bunch of people like how, but whatever. He was run up to the Heisman year too.
Who won the Heisman that year? That's a good question. RG3? No.
That might. Are you sure? That might have been it.
Nah, RG3. I think he was gone then.
Manti won it in right. I think. Well, I don't know what year did Manti Te'o win the Heisman. I mean, no, he didn't win the Heisman. What year was the finals for the Heisman?
I think it was 2011 or 12. Cause that's Alabama. I think it went back to back around
Let
that
me ask
time.
you a question. Chilltown, Bo Jackson. To answer your question right there, who's the greatest athlete of all time? Um, I'm gonna say Bo Jackson. But anyway, If you want, and never mind, but I'm going Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson's the only guy to be a Pro Bowler and an MLB All Star. And had he not gotten injured and had lost and had to have a hip replacement, I feel like he would have been a Hall of Famer in both sports.
I think so too.
But as far as pure athlete, I'm not talking about accolades or anything. Just to answer your question, best athlete. As far as the best athlete at his peak, it would be Bo Jackson.
Ooh.
But as far what year did Manti what year did he get drafted? And then it would be he got drafted like in 2013, right? Heisman in 2012.
Yeah, I think an Alabama player won it that year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it was.
Like Mark Ingram or somebody like that.
I think he was gone then too, because I think Lacey was there. It was Lacey,
Eddie
Henry,
Lacy.
yeah, Henry.
The Derrick Henry.
Did he win that? No, he was. Derrick Henry was an underclassman then, because the lead back then was Eddie Lacy. Oh no, I know. I respect that choice. I got Jim Brown.
Hey, RP Jim Brown. That's a fine answer, Jim Brown. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and discredit Jim Brown.
I'm gonna go a step further. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Jerry Rice.
Greatest receiver ever. So I mean, I don't have nothing against that.
Yeah, I'll say Jerry Rice. If we're saying athlete, I'll say Jerry.
And I'm not gonna call this guy the greatest athlete of all time, but if our generation, I'm gonna say Julius Peppers. I'm talking about our generation. Yeah. And I'm saying as far as when we're talking about some of the greatest pure athletes, I think when you if you talk about our generation, we talk about just greatest pure athletes in our generation. You got Julius Peppers, the only person to play in the NCAA Final Four and play in the NFL Super Bowl.
He did. They could do both well.
Yeah, starting power forward in North Carolina, but also an All-American defensive end. So
yeah.
So just as far as pure athletes,
just raw talent. That's definitely raw talent. But yeah, I don't know who won the Heisman that year, but I think Eddie Lacy did. He was the starting back that year.
But I don't think Lacy didn't win the Heisman though.
I don't 2012, 2013.
Let me see. Robert Griffin won it in 2011, right?
Yeah, he was in the league by the time Alabama went back and played Notre Dame.
Yeah, Alabama beat Notre Dame in the national championship that year, 42-13.
It might have been one that the USC quarterback. What was the freaking name? The dude that y'all drafted? Didn't he win it that year?
We didn't draft.
That was before.
You talking about Sam Darnold?
No, not Darnold. The other one. No, Clausen was 08. Didn't he win the Heisman?
Clausen didn't win no Heisman, but Clausen got drafted in 2010, but he didn't win no Heisman.
Okay.
They hyped him up though, Jimmy Clausen. He was a bust. I remember his brother Casey Clausen and his other brother Rick Clausen when they used to play for Tennessee Volunteers.
My question: Did Teddy Bridgewater, when he was a finalist, he didn't win the Heisman, did he?
Nah, he was at Louisville, but he didn't win the Heisman at Louisville.
And another one, Lamar, because Lamar won in like 15 or 16, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, love before Lamar. It could have been Derrick Henry. Hey, let me ask you, one of the three people who are in this chat or just watching this, Google
Manziel. There you go.
Johnny Manziel. Yep.
Running over the tail. Money.
Johnny Football, man.
Money Manziel, man.
I forgot all about Johnny Football. And he played for Texas A&M under Coach Kevin Sumlin.
Yep. Beat Alabama.
Texas A&M, that was their first year in the SEC. They went 11-2 that year.
Yep.
And they beat Alabama at Alabama that year with Manziel.
But he got the boot.
Manziel had his own problems in life, man. Manziel, by the time he got to the NFL, your raw talent alone can't do it. The lack of preparation and the extracurricular things he was doing that was taken away from his football is what ultimately ended his NFL career. And then he even attempted to revive his game in the Canadian Football League, and unfortunately was unable to successfully relaunch his career in the CFL either.
Yeah.
Let Johnny Manziel be an example because they love to talk about failures of guys like Jamarcus Russell and stuff like that. So let Johnny Manziel also be a reminder of when you don't put your priorities when you don't put your priorities where they're supposed to be, Your raw talent alone will not be enough to suffice and to get you through. And Johnny Manziel is a prime example of that. And that should be a reminder for all young people out there.
Chill Time makes a good point now.
They should take his Heisman. Could you elaborate? Did he get caught up in? Did they get some violations or something?
It was something about I don't know if it was a violation or something with I can't remember. It was a story. Don't quote me. I think it was something about autographs or something that violated. I don't know if he got in trouble for it.
There was something that he was accused of that at that time he was playing would have been considered NCAA violation. I remember there being an issue about some autograph signings where he was under investigation. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What was the conclusion of that? Was there any kind of ruling that it was determined that he violated NCAA rules?
I think it just went quiet. Yeah, I think it just went quiet after that.
Because if I remember his parents had money, I think they somehow finagled him out of that. But in fairness, if he violated NCAA rules at that time, then he should be treated the same way that Reggie Bush was treated. But
yep.
But I don't recall what the conclusion of that was. But ultimately, his Heisman is still on the books, and I guess he was able to slither through all of that.
And I think Reggie's trying to get in court to get his back or sue or whatever. But I mean, I don't think they should have took Reggie's for allegedly for whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't think Terrell Pryor should have taken a 6-game NFL suspension over getting some free tattoos when he was in college either. But and Jim Tressel's not allowed to coach in college football again because of that, which is ridiculous. But he is the president at Youngstown State.
My thing is, they ain't like, well, somebody is a mole somewhere because this has been happening for years.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it, all of those things now are basically legal now.
Yep, it's legal now. I can make millions of dollars to go to college.
Yeah, if you're good at a sport, he ain't just gonna make just go to college.
If you are that person, like the girl from LSU, I feel like she'll make more money in college than she would in the WNBA.
Of course she is. I mean, for playing in the WNBA, that's and no just the WNBA. I'm not trying to. No. I'm just talking about but they're not paid lucratively like NBA, NFL, MLB, and all. They're not. They're and I'm not getting into whether they should be or shouldn't be. I'm just stating the fact that they're not. So I'm sure if she's getting good NIL money, she's making more than she'd be making as a rookie in the WNBA. So
yeah. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we are at the hour and 32-minute mark. We know what we do. Give the floor to my main man right here.
To me?
To you.
Well, let me at least sit up, man, so I can talk to the people.
All right.
Don't really have a whole lot to say, man. I'm just gonna say that football season is winding down, and the North Carolina high school football playoffs are going on. To the kids in Anson County, I want next year, this time, I want this to be you. So that means you're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have the attention to detail. And you're going to have to buy into what Coach Jackson is saying. So when Coach Jackson wants you there at a certain time, don't wait till the last day possible to be there. Be there as soon as he wants you there, so you don't suffer the same fate that you suffered this year and the previous year. You don't want to get off to a 0-3 start, and you don't want to suffer another first-round playoff loss. If you want to get to the next level like your Forest Hills and your Monroes, then you're going to have to put in the time, effort, and attention to detail that they put in. So that means when Coach Jackson says be here at this time on this date, then be there that time, that date, ready to go. Don't wait till the last possible day at the last possible minute to get to work. Because if you do, you've seen what happens when you prepare that way. So maybe it's best to listen to him and try something differently and do what he asked to do the first time he asked you to do
it. All right. Hey man, shout out to everybody that came through tonight. The only words I got tonight is I got it right there at the bottom. We need a quarterback in New England. That's all I'm gonna say tonight. That's because I'm tired of switching garbage for more garbage.
That's what you're doing.
He ain't lying. Hey, I agree. Hey, I'm with you when you're right. So
I don't feel sorry for you.
I know.
The way I feel about New England right now is the way I feel about Richmond Senior High School struggles. Screw them both.
Hey, no love lost. It's no love lost. Hey, I'm sick of them too. This year, shit. Oh, oops. Shoot.
I
Yeah,
I never dreamed. It's crazy. The Ants and Richmond had the same record this year. That's crazy.
that tickles my spirit every time you say it. That you know what that means? We technically had a better season than Richmond.
Now we both went 5-5 and lost in the first round of playoffs. Neither one of us did more than the other. Let's not lie.
We did score.
L is the L.
You're right. I got points. They else didn't. But yeah.
Man, we don't have enough room to be laughing at anybody. I'll put it like that.
No, I ain't got a room laughing, but I don't care about Richmond County.
Neither do I.
They can go
I want,
0
I
and they
want,
can go
Forrest,
0 and
I want
10, and
Forrest Hill to
I'm
lose.
gonna be happy as a Cheshire cat.
I want Forrest Hill to lose tomorrow too. To be frank about it. Go ahead.
Who do they play tomorrow?
Community School of Davidson, a team that they beat in the regular season 21-14. They beat Community School. You remember Davidson Day, the Will Greer played for us. Davidson Day and another school merged, another team merged together to become Community School of Davidson. They played for us in the regular season. Forest Hill beat them 21-14 earlier this year, but they're playing again tomorrow. That was the only game that Community School of Davidson lost, I think.
And I think Monroe goes to
Bunker Hill. But I thought that game was at Monroe. Monroe got to go to Bunker Hill.
They gotta go to Bunker Hill, but I think Bunker Hill the higher seed.
Yeah, Monroe. I think Monroe wins that game. But I think that's going to be speed versus power. If Bunker Hill control the line of scrimmage and can use and play that smash mouth downhill ball and keep Monroe's defense on the field and use that physicality to neutralize that speed, then and get the game muddy, then that'll play the Bunker Hill's advantage. On the flip side, if Monroe can get their guys on the perimeter, they should be able to gash you with that speed. So it's whoever can impose what they want to do will win that game. And I'm leaning with Monroe. I feel like the speed of Monroe is going to triumph. I think it'll be a 28-21 type game. Monroe wins.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple good little games in the area. I will be live tomorrow for the championship.
West Charlotte versus Chris. That's an ode to the 1990s. West Charlotte versus Chris. That's an old 1990s. They used to be the same conference back like in the late 80s, early 90s, I think. But that's an old 1990s old 4A matchup in 3A playoffs. West Charlotte versus Chris. Good to see those programs back at it and playing against each other in the 3A playoffs.
And I will be doing play-by-play commentary. We do have the championship tournament tomorrow, so I will be doing that and will be play-by-play with that game. And also 71st versus Fike. I think that's what they call Fike.
Yeah,
Fike.
shout out to Coach Anthony Harris.
Oh, yeah, third round. Hey.
And by the way, man, I heard some people looking for some merchandise, man. If they want it, where can they find it?
Hey, man, if you're looking for a T-shirt, you can wear it to work. You can wear it to bed. You can wear it to church. You can wear it to the grocery store. Hey, man, Money Fresh Clothing. BigCartel.com. Go and get you a CCP T-shirt or a Who Has the Heat T-shirt. They also had those as well. So again, if you're looking for a shirt to wear to church, the bed, or to the grocery store, go to Money Fresh Clothing. .bigcartel.com. We will be back for tomorrow for the tournament, the finale. Coffee with the Foe versus Sean Mebane for the championship. The first one, the very first one. And I will be doing, like I said, play-by-play the West Charlotte game. Probably more games on the slate because I will be watching a couple. And who else? It's another good game. Scotland versus Northern Nash. That's in Scotland. That's
3A East.
Yeah, that's gonna be a pretty good one. I would love to see 71st and Scotland meet up.
Former conference rivals.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. But I think Havelock got a good game this week. I think they got JH Rose. Yeah.
Yeah, there was another J.M. Robinson versus Dudley. That's a big game too.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of them undefeated.
Huh?
Both of them undefeated, right?
I think so. I don't think Robinson lost no games this year.
No.
As far as I know. But Dudley is Dudley, and I'm always going to respect Dudley. But you got to play the game to win, like you say.
Mm-hmm.
But the expectations are high in Dudley.
Oh, no doubt.
Exquisite garments, yes, exquisite garments. That's it right there. That's what we had. Exquisite garments.
Exquisite.
Going up there, the Money Fresh Clothing. Big Cartel. mycareer.com and get you some t-shirts. Go support my brother.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, those are most of the games that's in this area tomorrow. I think it's more. I just know those are the ones I'm pretty much gonna be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
And yeah, man. With that said, we'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll be back for the tournament by 8:30, and I will be watching the games. So I'll be back and forth, giving up score updates on some games tomorrow, and running the championship as well. So we will be back tomorrow night at 8:30.
No
Until
doubt.
then, we'll see you then.
Yes, sir.